Hello, welcome to Bob's Dungeon. My name is Bob, I'll be your host. And in this video, we're going to take the opportunity to get to know each other a little better. And what I mean by this is I'm going to talk about some moments of my life, particularly moments of my life that involved tabletop role-playing games. Now, these might be events that happened at the games, or they might be events that happened in the games themselves. And they might be things that I did, and maybe things that other people did. But they're moments in time, little snippets that have just stuck with me for the many years since they've happened, and in some cases, the many decades since they've happened. And as a moment of time, this could be a short period, like instantaneous, or it could be a period over several months. Time is relative. Anyway, the first thing I want to mention is one that's very important to me and has altered my life in ways I can't even begin to explain or discuss. But I met my wife at a game I was running. And this is a moment in time that has stuck with me since. And when I told my wife I was going to mention that in this list, she goes, "Ooh, you have to mention the arm thing." So, here we go. I was running a Star Wars game, and this girl showed up. And we had girls in the game before, but they never really last, and they were just playing the game to be cutesy or whatever. Never ever took the game serious. But she played, and during the game, her character got her arm cut off. I figured that's the last we'll see of her. Well, she showed up at the next game session, ready to go. What's happening next? She wound up getting a cybernetic arm. Later on in the game, one of the other players that started when she started, he was running the character. I can't remember what species he was, but he had 4 arms. And they were trying out a rickety lightsaber that they had cobbled together. And they handed it to my wife's character. My wife's character was like, no. I lost an arm before. Let the guy with 4 arms try it out. To make a long story short, he lost 2 of his arms and a bunch of fingers on his other hands. So, mention the arm thing. Moving on to another D6 Star Wars game. I had a friend that made an amazing roll. Now, for those of you that don't know how the D6 system works, in your dice, you roll just 6-sided dice, but one of your dice is colored differently, and that's the wild die. And if it rolls a 6, then the die explodes, and you get to keep rolling 6s and adding them to your total till you no longer roll a 6. Well, my friend had 3 dice for his Starship Blaster skill, and he was in a A-Wing fighter, and he was firing on a Star Destroyer. And on 3 6-sided dice, he made a roll of 83. 83 on 3 6-sided dice. Then he rolls his damage. 3 points of damage. So basically what we had happen was he hits an open thermal exhaust port. The shot ricochets down the shaft. It makes it all the way to the core of the power for the ship, and is so depleted from all the ricochets that it just kind of went. The ship's lights flashed, and that was all he got. So that was a memorable moment that has stuck with several of us for a long time. Another moment in a vampire game that has stuck with a lot of us for a long time was I had a friend playing this monstrous Bruja character. He had huge size. He had maxed out strength, maxed out potence. He was just a scary character. And he liked hurting people with his fists. Well, they were in this bar, their characters, and there's a guy in the corner that kept staring at him. And I was going to have him give some exposition to them to set them on the path they need to go on. But instead, the Bruja gets up, he goes outside, he rips a stop sign out of the ground, comes back into the bar, smacks the guy in the face with a stop sign, and he goes, "Stop!" Whack! Staring at me. So he basically just about killed the guy and ruined the plans I had for him. And that has stuck with a lot of us for a long time. And then there was a Robotech game I ran. Now, it's not so much the game itself, but the circumstances in life and where we were playing the game kind of went along with the game itself. The game was meant to be this progression thing where they started off just in a really horrible position and things got better as it went. They were the lowest of the low and were becoming better. Their equipment was the reused scraps that nobody wanted and so forth. Well, when we first started playing, we were playing at a friend of mine's house who, at the time, he had no electricity or anything at his house because he was getting evicted eventually and like in that month. So this is where we started off playing at nights after work. And then we started playing at another friend's house. So the situation got better. Then we started playing at another friend's house, which was even better. So our gaming situation improved along with the character's situation and the game improving. So that was always memorable to me. And that was a moment that stuck with me. But my final moment that stuck with me for years was another D6 Star Wars game. And I know I mentioned a lot of D6 Star Wars games. Well, we played D6 Star Wars a lot. But anyway, my friend was playing a Wookiee. And he was bugging our Jedi in the group. And I forget what all was going on. But he made the Jedi so mad that the Jedi turned him and used his mind-altering powers on him. He just waves his hand and he tells them, "Stick your finger in your butt and go dance with a toy leak." And they make their rolls. And the Wookiee failed. The Jedi won. So my friend, he gets up and mimes his Wookiee's action. You know, he holds his hand back behind him and then starts dancing. And we're all laughing at this. And we're just rolling. We laugh for a good 5 minutes. But then we stop and we're getting ready to get the game going again. But my brother's still laughing. He's laughing so hard. He can't breathe. He's just rolling in his chair. And we're like, "Man, it was funny, but it wasn't that funny." He goes, "I'm not laughing at him. I'm laughing at them." And we all looked, and the windows were open. The blinds were drawn, were up, and across the street, the neighbors had been sitting outside in lawn chairs enjoying the day, and they had watched my friend acting like he had his finger where the Jedi told him to put it, and danced. And they were laughing because they saw the whole thing. And my brother was laughing at that. My friend playing the Wookiee, his face turned beet red, and he started cussing us all out, and just sat there the rest of the game, just and wouldn't really react to anything. He was done. So those are moments in time that I get to keep that were brought to me from my gaming hobby. So thank you for joining me at this rambling list, and hopefully you'll join me next time where we'll talk about something else. Bye.